If you clicked on that thumbnail and came in here expecting to find a beautifully edited, fully scripted, topic-focused, edutainment knitting video, this ain't it. I am going to chat. I am going to talk about what I'm doing. I'm going to show you some cool stuff I'm working on right now. And if that's not your thing, then by all means, go about your day. Have a great time, you crazy kid. I'll see you in the next video. If you think this is cool and you just want to hang out with me for a bit this week, awesome. I'll see you in the lounge. As you can see, I am wearing pajama adjacent clothing and my comfortable bra. And here's why. Making YouTube videos, making really good content, clickable, watchable YouTube videos that are the kind I know you like is a lot of hard work. I gotta come up with a topic and a title and make a good thumbnail, and then I gotta organize all the stuff I'm gonna do. I might have to do some research. I gotta film. I gotta spend hours editing. And I also have a day job. I used to have 2 day jobs, but I got rid of one of them, thank goodness. It's a lot, and I'm tired this week. So here we are. Now, okay, I'm sure I sound like I'm whining, and I know you didn't come in here to listen to me whine. Shut up, Oscar. So let's just get into this. But thanks for being here if you're still here. I'm really happy to have you. Let's just look at what I'm up to and have some super cash kind of hanging out with Nicole fun. First, a couple of announcements, and I'm going to keep this like extraordinarily brief because I know this kind of stuff, this admin stuff is really boring. It bores me when I pop into these kind of videos. So I'm going to keep it short, but there's some stuff you might want to know. So I'm going to tell you. If you're watching this on Saturday, March 30th, today I am at Fibres West in the Vancouver area, the Cloverdale Agriplex something or other. There's like this big fiber show, knitting, spinning, weaving, felting, all things fiber. Anyway, I'm there. I will be hanging around a fair bit. The Your Next Knit booth with Smita. If you happen to be there today, come in and, seek me out, say hi. I'd love to meet you. Okay. Enough about that. Next, you may or may not know that I have a knit-along coming up. Yay! Smita from Your Next Knit and I are doing a knit-along of the artist shawl, and you can buy kits from Smita. They're selling like hotcakes. So she's scrambling to put together kits as fast as she can. So if you haven't been able to get what you want, keep checking back in there. She is going to restock, yada, yada, yada. And the other thing I just need you to know is that neither Smita or I realized that there was this long weekend, Easter, dropped in to between I posted the announcement video and when the knit-along is going to start, which is, April 7th. So that's going to affect shipping a bit. If you don't have your kit by April 7th for the knit-along, don't panic. It's all going to be good. I'm going to be demoing a whole pile of stuff and talking about the project in general and showing my modifications and all that stuff during that knit-along first episode. I told you I am unscripted today. I apologize in advance for all of this. So don't worry. Just please be patient. We'll get it to you. You can always cast on with yarn you have on hand just to try out a few things. Practice Mosaic, practice the snazzy I-cord cast on I'm going to show you, that kind of stuff. It's all good. Okay, announcements done. Moving along. This is kind of sort of an announcement, but not really. I actually do have a project to show you related to this. In April, from April 12th to 17th, I am going to be on the Wool and Wine trip organized by River City Yarns in Edmonton. A bunch of knitters. We're getting on a bus. We're driving from Edmonton to Jasper. We're staying in a nice hotel. We're going to knit and take some classes from Stephanie Purl McPhee. And then we're getting on the train in Jasper and training back to Edmonton. It's going to be awesome. And before you get all excited about it, it's been sold out forever. But I think you can contact River City and maybe get on a wait list. But, I'd say at this point, don't hold your breath. But you never know. Things happen. Anyway, I am going on that trip. As part of that event, there is a knit-along happening in collaboration with Ancient Arts Yarns. They created a colorway or yarn or something specifically for this trip. Oh, see, I was so lazy. I didn't even do much research. And there's a couple of patterns that people are knitting along. One of them is Stephanie Purl McPhee's Summer something. And I can't remember the name of the other one. Anyway, I wasn't particularly keen on either of those things. They were both shawls that just aren't my style. So I decided to come up with my own cowl to knit for this knit along, and I'll show you right now what I'm doing. I've talked about this before, and of course my Roman Villa is behind me that has a combination of slip stitch color work and texture and that kind of stuff. So I like that combination. I went looking for a cowl pattern with those elements in it. And you know how I feel about infinity cowls, right? I've talked about them in practically every episode. So if you've been watching me, you know. However, if you happen to be new here, and I don't know why you'd be here listening to me babble if you're new, but if you are, this is an infinity cowl. So it is a tube of knitting grafted into another tube of knitting, and it's my favorite style of cowl. I went looking for a pattern. I did not find an infinity cowl, but I found Purl Soho's Stitch Block cowl. I'm just making sure you can see this, okay? Which has 3 sections. It's in 3 colors. It has 3 different sections. One, a solid color texture. Sorry, I should hold this up so you can see it. A solid color texture back here, a 2-color slip stitch colorwork textured section, and then a 3-colored slip stitch colorwork section. Right up my alley. It's not an infinity cowl. It's just a straight up start at one end, knit to the other end, and graft it together cowl, or sew it together cowl. I can't even remember what the real instructions are. Anyway, I'm modifying it into my favorite infinity cowl. So I had to convert the pattern into working in the round and changing up the length of the sections because I don't want it 27 miles long the way it's written. And if you've ever gone to Purl Soho's website and looked at their free patterns, they are free. They are great patterns. They're well written. They're fabulous designs. But there are 27 pages of instructions. They put lots of big pictures. They break the instructions up into little chunks as you go along. So if you try to print it off, you're going to end up with 27 pages. I wanted my instructions for this cowl on a single page. So I printed off the parts that I wanted, or I might even have screen captured them. I don't know what I did. I think I printed because it looks like I cut and pasted. So I printed them off. I cut and pasted them, squished down onto a single sheet, just of the 3 different pattern sections. And then I had to make some modifications for knitting it in the round because the pattern is written for back and forth. So it's going to be a little bit different. Every second round, things that are purls are going to be knits and knits are going to be purls and, like that. And then I had to figure out I had to do a little gauge swatch, figure out how many stitches I needed to cast on for my tube, all that stuff. So I'm working on this. Here are the colors that I picked. Green, blue, and greeny blue. Go figure. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to wear. Look how cool. Like, even with my my jammies, like, look. This is me, right? So Nicole. All right. Not out of my comfort zone today. I will be a little bit later when I show you something, though. You're going to be shocked. This is as far as I have gotten. I need to knit 10 inches in this textured pattern. This is super easy. Oh, and by the way, I ordered this Ancient Arts yarn. I didn't order the specific colorway for the Woolen Wine Trip, but I ordered the colors I liked in this Lascaux DK because this is what I knit Roman Villa out of, and I love it. So I ordered some more. Thank you, Ancient Arts. I need 10 inches of this before I can move on to the 2 colors section. And I really thought I was going to get there for you today. Didn't happen because I'm lazy. Well, maybe not because I'm lazy, maybe because I'm working on so much other stuff at the same time, and I'm going to Vancouver later this week, and I'm going to Fibres West, and then I'm working on this knit along stuff. And yes, Oscar, I'm whining again. Stop it. I'll stop it. Anyway, I was really hoping to get to the 2 colored section for you. Now I can't remember which one I was going to use for the second color. If it was this blue, I don't think it was. I think I was going to green it up and then use the blue for the pop in the last section. I think that's my plan. Anyway, you'll see this when it's finished. I'll be wearing it on the Woolen Wine Trip. I will take some pictures, maybe a bit of video, and show you, how much fun that trip was. Because if they do one next year, you might want to get in early. I think it's going to be a good time. So next, hang on a second, I'm thirsty. Okay, before you get upset, it is morning. This is not gin. This is sparkling water. I love my gin martinis. Hey, gin fans. Hi. But sometimes, I'm not insane. I don't drink gin at 10:30 in the morning. So this is sparkling water. I think it's fun to drink regular drinks in a fancy glass. Judge me if you want. I don't care. All right. I haven't talked about crochet in a while. And sorry, apologies to if you're a crocheter, and I do kind of say that I knit and crochet, and I do. And I think I showed this project. I don't have much of it done at the moment. A little smidge. There's going to be a theme today of me having started a whole pile of little smidgy, not very far along things. But, you may want to see these at the advent of what they're going to become. I don't know. Are you still here? Why are you still here? Sorry. Anyway, here we go. I am doing a crochet thing. I really need to get back to it because it's very cool. I quite like it. And the reason this intrigued me, this was a kit I got from Knit Stars. And someday I will talk to you all about Knit Stars because there's a lot to explain about Knit Stars if you don't already know about it. If you are a Knit Stars fan, let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to know how many of you know about Knit Stars, attend Knit Stars. If you're in the Yarniverse, let me know about that too. Maybe you found me through the Yarniverse. I don't know. Who knows? This is a bandana cowl, which I get, it's not really my thing, but I'm doing it anyway. And it's designed by Vincent Williams, who's a very talented designer. He designed this cowl both in knitting and in crochet. I chose to do it in crochet because this cowl is, and I'm sorry, but this picture, look at this cool Knit Stars Yarniverse binder I got. Isn't that cool? I'm sorry, this picture, you're not going to be able to see it very well. I'm going to see if I can pull up a pic and put it on the screen because this just isn't going to show very well. It's just going to be a big blob of blue. It didn't print well. Anyway, there is a cable running up the center of this bandana and it's crocheted, but it looks like knitting. Here, I'll try and hold this up so you can see it. I'll hide my face, so hopefully it will. You see that? See this cable that's happening in here? It's crocheted. It's so cool. It looks like I'm knitting a cable in the middle of my piece of crochet. And you can see those cabled stitches are being held on my little Flox markers, Flox tools. I don't know if you know about these Flox things, but they have so many amazing uses. They're really fantastic. Here, I'll hide my face again so you can see it. It's like a little double-pointed needle with a bendy cable in the middle. You can use it as a cable needle. You can use it to pick up stitches and fix things. You can use it as a stitch marker. It's just endlessly useful. Anyway, I thought I would show you this because I am having a really good time with this, and maybe when I get it done and I can show you the whole thing, or when I'm close to done, I'll actually demo how this cable business happens, because it's really trippy. I quite like it. It's a tiny wee smidgy on the fiddly side, but so what. Okay, talked about the crochet project. What's next? While I'm talking about Knit Stars, I got another kit recently, the Q1 kit. They put out these special kits. They go in collaboration with particular yarn dyers and makers and designers, and they come up with these kits and projects, and you can buy the whole thing and they send it out to you as a bundle with treats and goodies and fun stuff. Anyway, it's really cool. Again, I'll talk about that another time. But this is the yarn that came in the Q1 kit for this year. This is Hedgehog Fibres. I don't know if you know about Hedgehog Fibres. They are in Cork, Ireland, which is really cool because my handsome man's heritage is part Irish and his family is from Cork. And this yarn is made in Ireland by Hedgehog Fibres. It is 70% merino wool, 30% cashmere. And it's 100 grams skein, 600 meters. So it's a lace weight. See how pretty? See the little cashmere halo? It's really pretty. Now, so the pattern that came with it was a cowl or a scarf or something, knit in a very loose gauge. I think just knitting, and, like this big cloud of knitted loose gauge lace weight wrapped around your head, which if you watched my 5 patterns I won't knit, 5 popular patterns I won't knit or probably won't knit after all the comments, there are some that I might actually knit now. You guys are convincing me for a change. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Now I went off on a tangent. You know that I'm not into shawls and stuff bunched up around my neck and a lot of bunchy fabric right here. So I didn't want to do the pattern that was designed for this particular yarn. Instead, I went looking for something else. And what I found was a cute little lace weight top, pullover, summery, very open gauge weight top with some cool texture. It's got like little twisted loose cables and a little bit of garter there. Simple texture, but interesting, just the way I like it. I know what you're thinking, because if you watched 5 patterns I won't knit, you know how I talked about the ranunculus and its shape and how it doesn't work for me. Even the lace weight version, this looks a lot like the lace weight ranunculus. I get it, but hear me out. I'm modifying this. I'm doing a cast on for a much smaller size. I do not want a big loose neckline. I want a tighter neckline. And then I'm going to work out the increases to make sure I still get enough room around my bust. Okay, so I need to talk about this in another video because I've seen a lot of people comment about how they modify things or how they could modify things, or when you're busty like me, and I know you might be too. And the trick is you want to choose a size that fits this part of your body, your neck, your shoulders, your armhole, this area. Choose the size that fits that best, and you're going to make allowances with some relatively simple modifications most of the time for your fleshy parts. Does that make sense? I used to teach sewing like a million years ago. I taught a lot of fitting classes, and it's exactly the same concept. I used to teach the same concept for sewing patterns. Fit your bone structure, adjust for your fleshy bits. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to use this. I am outside my comfort zone with this colorway. I know the thing about it that attracts me is the turquoisey effect that you get from this, because it is like a light pastel-y version of Totally Nicole Blue. So I think it's going to work on me. It does have little flecks of, this is as far as I've gotten, by the way, not very far. It does have little flecks. Sorry, my stitch markers are clicking against the needles and probably making noise on the microphone. So let's do that. See the little flecks of pink in there? There are little flecks of pink, little kind of confetti flecks of pink. They're subtle, they're small, they won't read from a distance, so I'm okay with it. This whole thing really is going to be an experiment. Is this lace weight, open gauge top going to work for me with my modifications? Am I going to like wearing this pastel-y colored yarn? There's a lot to be discovered yet with this, so stay tuned. I'm going to try to get this knit in the next couple of months, so it's summer wear. And then my other question is, and maybe you can tell me, maybe you've knit something like this before. This is merino and cashmere, and even in a super lace weight gauge, like, is this going to be too warm for me to wear in the summertime? The weather here, I know you might be in a really hot climate. It doesn't get really hot here except for about a month out of the year. And we get like these stretches of a few days or a week at a time where it's like crazy unbearably hot, but it's not, that doesn't happen for the whole season. We get a lot of mixed weather here during the summer. It can be 30 degrees Celsius, 35 degrees Celsius, and then a few weeks later it can be 20 degrees Celsius and windy. I live on an island. I'm near the ocean. We get a lot of wind. It gets cool at night, like that. So even though it probably wouldn't work for every single day during the summer, there will be days when it's way too hot to wear merino and cashmere, or anything for that matter. I think there will be opportunities. And it's a layering piece, and I don't know. Anyway, this whole thing is an experiment. It's an experiment. I will report back on how it comes out. Enough of that. All right. If you're still here watching this schmozzle of nonsense and you're enjoying yourself, awesome. Give me a thumbs up if you feel like it. If you're new and you feel like subscribing, although why on earth would you? Please do that. And if you're just too tired or lazy to do either of those things, great. That's what this day is about. Okay, next up. I am madly in love. Pardon me, martini time. I am madly in love with Thea Colman these days. My smoke show vest, I adore it. It's awesome. And my next garment is going to be her vanilla Affogato. I think that's right. Affogato. Thea Colman is baby cocktails, by the way. There's links around here somewhere, so you can go check out her stuff. It's a it's a transitional piece. So you wear it between winter and summer. It's kind of spring wear, and then it could be worn again between summer and winter, fall wear, like, you know what I mean. I think I'm going to knit it in this. I had this Rowan Soft Yak DK in my stash, and I think it's going to work really nicely. In this, I have knit a swatch. Ta-da! Look at that beautiful swatch. And I quite like it. It's light. It is a blend of yak, nylon, cotton. Cotton, yak, nylon. Cool, eh? Look at that. It's a chainette construction. I really like yarns in a chainette construction. It gives you a more bodied yarn, but still really light because it's actually like, it's like yarn that's a tiny I-cord. So it's a knitted little strip of yarn. Isn't that cool? Love it. Keep your eye out for chainette. Particularly plant fibers that are done in chainette, linen and linen blends and stuff in chainette. Great. Great combo. Keeps it soft and light and yet a little bouncy, a little stretchy, where for fibers like that you wouldn't get bounce and stretch necessarily. It's good stuff. Anyway, I think I'm going to knit it in this. I've swatched this. I've blocked it. I haven't measured it yet, so I don't even know if I have gauge. But I'm going to measure. I like the texture. The color I think is good for me. Yes, good. So I'm kind of excited about that. Here's a little lesson in yarn substitution. I first thought I was going to knit this in Riley. This is Riley by Haiku. This is baby alpaca, silk, and linen. I thought that this would knit up and I was going to do like a gradient because I have these 3 yarns that I frogged from a sweater that I've knit out of this previously that just didn't work out so well. Beautiful yarn, beautiful gradient colorway, love it. Something about the pattern and the fit and the style for me just wasn't working, so I frogged it. I thought it was going to work great for this vanilla affogato, but because it's wise, I swatched. I'm just putting that back there. I swatched and I didn't even get very far in my swatching. This is as far as I got. And I could already tell that, nope, this was not going to work because the composition of this yarn makes it so that it just sort of melts, if that makes any sense. Rather than standing up and having good stitch definition, so that when you do different stitches, they really stand out, they pop against each other. Everything I do in this just sort of melts together, if you know what I mean. You probably have a good idea what I mean by that. And I was going to do all this work doing this pattern stitch, which I'm going to say, another reason to swatch, my friend, is that this pattern stitch is not easy for me. And I messed it up several times in doing these practice swatches. So I really like to swatch complex stitch patterns in advance so that not just to get gauge and to check out my fabric, which are both excellent reasons. Another reason to swatch is to practice these complex stitches to make sure you've got it down before you start working in a garment. If I need to rip back 30 stitches, I'm much more okay with that than ripping back 150 stitches because I'm knitting a whole garment in the round and I screwed up a whole row. Am I making sense? Am I? I hope so. I really hope so. Anyway, now I feel more confident about barreling ahead with this and being able to knit this stitch. I have to look at every row change right now. I haven't gotten to the point where I can read this chart and read my knitting and know what's coming next. I will get there. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say read my knitting, I am going to do a video on reading your knitting. If you're an experienced knitter, I'm sure you already do this. Lots of you may not. And it's important. It may be one of the most important things that you can learn to do as a knitter is reading your knitting. Reinforce me down there in the comments, please. Experienced knitter. I need people to know that I'm not just making this up. Okay, where was I? Oh my God. Tangents, diversions, squirrel. Sheesh. No, there's no squirrel, Oscar. Okay, so I very quickly found out that this was not going to work, and I had to revert back to this one, which is what I thought I was originally going to knit in. So that guy's coming up. I think that's all I have to say about that. Vanilla Affogato, Rowan, Soft Yak DK is in the queue, getting ready to get on the needles. And speaking of getting distracted, I was doing something this week. I was watching a video, I think it was a Knit Stars thing, and Shelly was wearing a sweater, and everybody was like, oh, what sweater is that? And Shelly said, oh, I knit it years ago. It's a tin can knit one. I think it's called something something, and she didn't know how to pronounce it, which fair enough. It's kind of a complicated name. Anyway, it's called Clayquot. Clayquot Sound is an area here on Vancouver Island where I live that is famous for its old growth forests. Tin Can Knits is centered in the Lower Mainland. They used to be split between one of them in Vancouver and the other one in Scotland. Now they're both in the Lower Mainland. Anyway, I digress, as I am wont to do. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember I really like that pattern, so I pulled it up and took a look at it. And it has a stranded knit circular yoke. And I'm going to get onto that in a minute too, come to think of it. Great segue to the next thing I was going to show you. And I looked at this and I thought, I wonder if I can, instead of doing stranded knitting, which means you have to carry two colors as you go around the row and switch back and forth between them, I wonder if I can do that as mosaic. Here's, if you're ready to leave this video now, up here there's the link to my mosaic knitting video. You can go check that out. Mosaic knitting is just slip stitch color work, which means you're doing color work, but you're only ever working with one color at a time. And I thought I took this as a challenge, and so I just out of nowhere pulled up my Stitch Mastery charting program, and I started to see if I could chart this and something akin to this in mosaic colorwork, so I could do that colorwork a single color at a time instead of stranded. So I did this yesterday. I have not tested this yet. I need to go and knit up a swatch and see what this looks like, if it works. So stay tuned. I'll show you probably on my next episode of Knicoleknits Unplugged, because I'm likely to do this once in a while. I get tired, people. Shut up, Oscar. So I just, like, real quick, just wanted to show you that. That's the kind of thing that distracts me now and then. I'm also, like, starting to design another cowl for potentially another knit-along, maybe next fall, but I don't really want to get into that right now either. Just a tiny little teaser. So while I'm talking about stranded knitting and circular yokes, this is a sweater that I designed. Well, I designed the yoke. This is from Tin Can Knits' Strange Brew recipe, which you can go find on their website. The link's around here somewhere. I designed this yoke, and people love it. I love it. And I've debated about whether or not to write it up and publish it, but I really want to try and take this stranded yoke pattern and see if I can convert it to mosaic knitting, so you're only working one color at a time. I guess that's becoming my thing. So here's the chart that I made up for this. I'm going to see if I can convert it to something that looks reasonably similar. I can't get it exactly the same. There's no way to do that in slip stitch colorwork, but I can perhaps get something that's got the same feel, the same vibe, the same deco-ish thing. But the other thing I want to talk about with this sweater is that it is a circular yoke, and I kind of touched on this in the 5 patterns I won't knit video, but I've always had a hard time getting this style of yoke to fit me well. If I get the upper part and the arms to fit me well, it doesn't fit well in the body, and what happens when I wear this sweater is it has a tendency to bunch up on me like this, like it bunches here, because I don't have enough really bust room from the way this sweater is designed. I recently took a class from Kim McBrien Evans, who is also Indigo Dragonfly. Again, the link's around here somewhere. And I took this circular yoke fit class, and she explained everything that was that was up with this and why these kind of yokes are tough for people shaped like me and how I can fix it. I'm excited. I am actually going to frog this back. This was top down, so from the bottom, I'm going to frog it back up to my armhole area, and I'm going to re-knit it using her sort of vertical bust dart thing that she does. And then I'll show you how well that worked. I'm fingers crossed it works, because this could change up everything for me. It means that circular yokes can come back into my realm of knitting because they will fit me properly. Okay, enough about that. I'm just trying not to babble too much. I know. I just don't want to babble too much. Okay, and I want to show you these cool things I got from Cocoknits. They are called project wallets. I have lots of fancy spendy project binder thingies. I have a bunch from Thread and Maple that are like this. They're leather, they're gorgeous, they're yummy. Now, if you're a vegan, this is not going to be your thing. They are luxe, right? And I have a few of them, and I'd like to have a project bindery thing like that in every one of my project bags, so I can just grab a bag and go work with it without having to hunt for tools. I have multiples of everything. I have multiples of scissors. I have multiples of tape measures. It seems like every time I order something, it comes with a tape measure. Have you noticed this? People really like to put their branding on tape measures, which is great. I mean, you know, it's one of those things it's hard to have too many of, and I get scissors all the time too from various things. So I have those. I have those really fancy nice ones, but I thought, you know, those are expensive and they're out of a lot of people's price ranges. And then I saw that Cocoknits, who I adore, who does sustainable stuff. This is like washable paper canvas stuff. It's unbelievable. I don't know where she came up with this or where she gets this manufactured, but it's wild. Anyway, I got it in two colors. I got it in gray and the natural. I also have, as I disappear out of the camera, I also have this Cocoknit bin, project bin caddy thing. Super handy. Again, I think it's, yeah, same stuff. Same stuff that's made out of. This is, check it out. This is like washable paper product. Isn't that crazy? It's amazing. Anyway, that's not what I was going to show you. So you can take this. It's an accordion, like an accordion folder thing, right? Like you would stuff files into, like an accordion file folder. And you can stuff it full. It stretches open to, it stretches open quite deep, like 5 inches. So you can really cram stuff in here. But you know what's really clever about this that just boggled my mind? I don't know how she came up with this. She's so good. Is you can pull these slips out. These little, pull it out. So I can put like little stitch markers in the bottom of this and put it in there and just slide that out to get at that stuff without having to turn the whole thing upside down to shake it out. I don't know how she comes up with this stuff. It's really, she's amazing. And of course you can write on these tabs and say, you know, these are my stitch markers. This is where my scissors are. This is where these needles are. You can put little needles in there. Like, I can't say enough about this. And I ordered these from the Grocery Girls in Edmonton. They have a great online shop. Again, links around here somewhere. And they were $35 Canadian each, which great deal because the Thread and Maple ones are like, I think closer to 100 and up-ish. So worth every penny. They're beautiful. But this is more budget friendly for a lot of folks, I'm sure. Anywho, so you can just wrap it closed and off you go. You've got your whole project, everything you need for your project right here. Brilliant. One more quick thing. This is a fantastic book that I got in the last few months, I guess. I can't remember who I ordered it from. I think I ordered it directly from Laine, maybe, possibly. Can't remember. Anyway, beautiful book. Grand Shetland Adventure Knits by Gudrun Johnston and Mary Jane Mucklestone. I bought it because this pattern by Mary Jane Mucklestone, this, just a straight up V-neck sweater, but it has this incredible little bit of stranded knitting in the V-neck. I love it. I have to have this sweater. See if I can find that. There is Mary Jane wearing the sweater. Can you see that? I'm trying to stay out of the camera. Yeah. Mary Jane wearing the sweater. It's called the Ling V-neck. I love it. I need to knit this. I may even just do the stranded knitting in the neckline. I might try to convert it to Mosaic. We'll see how it goes, how ambitious I'm feeling. But I just wanted to show you that because this is a beautiful book full of tons of gorgeous patterns, but that pattern in particular got my attention. That's it. I'm done for today now. According to YouTube, I'm supposed to direct you to another video to watch. I'm too lazy to pick one, so the algorithm is going to put one right down here for you that the algorithm says is the best one for you to watch. And I'm going to drink the rest of my sparkling water out of my martini glass, and I will see you next time. Bye.